is a simple 4 mic setup on a Behringer mixer with our one output going into the camera, which you're getting there. I don't know if any of this can be clear. So I'm actually going to speak into a mic and try it again. So we've got a basic 4 mic setup on the Behringer mixer, one single output going into the camcorder, and we are using 4 Shure condenser mics set up for panel style, so they're a flat style mic, good quality, extremely good for vocalizing. Check on mic 2. Hopefully this is all picking up still. Let's turn off mic 1, 3, and 4.
I just see what light should be illuminating.
Just on the far end.
I see okay.
That one.
Oh yeah, just for. So let me just go ahead and do that again, and I'll just put the light right on the.
It's just me snapping my fingers.
Okay. So what is a normal level where it's actually that you're not yellow or red line?
Most mixers will have it set at about the 0 point, is where when you're at 0 decibels, you can hear below that and you can hear above that easily. But 0 is kind of the neutral point, and most mixers will have everything green from a negative point to 0, and then from 0 up it goes yellow and then into red.
And what number is that one, Casey?
On this mixer, it's 0, set for the negative, for the neutral.
Okay, but which line was coming in of all these 4? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We are in line. Let's follow this cable back.
I'll just step it out.
This is channel 3.
Okay, so for
on channel 3.
This one right here, right?
Yep.
So, and the controller for that one is this one here?
Yes.
Or this one here?
It goes by the paint mark. Goes by the little marks you can see at the top, segregate off each channel.
Okay, so it's this one here?
Yes.
Okay, so it's fairly high up. It's at 0 right now, right?
Yep.
So if I push that up and you continue talking,
it's just I'm gonna get a fair amount louder and louder and louder until you get to the top. Yep.
Okay, so that's only a very short distance between 0 and all the way up to 10.
Yep.
But it goes all the way down.
Yep.
It's a long sliding.
Yeah, that's just based around if the type of mic you're using picks up a lot more power, or the person is very, very powerful, their vocal styles, you may not necessarily need to put that much power into it. It might be a lot better down around that level for someone who can.
Just remember that guy, that one musician that.
Rory Taylor.
So he basically told the sound engineer to drop it right down, right?
Yep.
Because he had such a vibrant voice.
Yes,
but generally speaking, where we have zeros right across the board.
Yeah, there's no real generality when it comes to audio mixing because everybody's voice is different. So a lot of it is on the fly as the person's going. You're making little tweaks here and there. Well, that's from my background anyways in musical theater, but most events where someone's singing is the same way, or even with instruments, you're tweaking out certain frequencies because they're becoming noise, which is unwanted sound in the mix.
Now, everything that's indicating to me right now is just the yellow. I'll put my finger right.
I think that's just the power light.
So there is no indication that it's really going above the levels, right?
Yeah, but it is recording for sure.
So if you have somebody, in this case this is an artificial scenario, but if we had a panel of 4 people and you had them spaced apart and certain people are speaking low, as a sound engineer that's responsible for the camera as well, you're listening to it, you have your headphones on. Right?
Yeah, you'll bring up the volume.
You bring up the volume of that particular individual.
Yeah, and same as vice versa. If someone is really loud and speaking very close into their mic, you're going to bring it down so then that they're not so hot.
Well, sometimes you get a person who's the fifth. We have 5 lines here, and so say we had a speaker in the audience.
Yeah.
That's, and they're just babbling on, and you can basically drop them right down.
Yep.
And not to say you're censoring, but you're basically controlling the seminar.
You want to keep seminars flowing along. You don't want them to come to a halt because one person has a really long, drawn-on question.
So what are some of the other features now? You and I talked about phantom power. The only phantom I know is the Phantom Menace. So I assume this is a bit of a phantom medicine.
Phantom power is a extra plus 48 volts of DC power to certain microphones that require it. Not all. It's like the Shure SM58 is, some audio guy might correct me there, but I'm pretty sure it's a dynamic mic. And the ones that I'm speaking into now is a condenser. Condenser mics require the extra voltage to power their diaphragm for how they transmit what I'm saying into the board and then into the camera. It all revolves around this little thin metal plate that moves back and forth from the sound waves from us speaking.
So you only use phantom power when you're on DC?
It converts it on the inside.
Okay. So right now, I'm just going to pan back to the Behringer mixer. So you'll see a little... so that is on or off currently?
It's on currently. These mics wouldn't be picking anything up if it was off.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they won't work without it.
So we have to turn it on, plus turn on the phantom.
Have your phantom on first, then turn on the board with all the mics plugged in. And when, this is really important for condenser mics, when you turn the board off, you want to allow 15 minutes to 25 minutes for the power to make its way out of the mic, so you could damage them when you unplug them.
Okay, so let's go over that again. That seems pretty serious to me. So let's go through the steps again.
When you're powering down your system and you're using any mics that require phantom power, you always turn the system off, and before you start unplugging the mics, give them 15, 20, 25 minutes to just discharge any of the current that's still flowing through them.
And so why is that?
I don't remember the exact behind it, but it's something to do with the circuitry. You can get fried really easily because they're very, very sensitive circuit boards in them.
So you're frying the speakers or you're frying the soundboard?
The circuitry inside the mic.
Inside the mics. Okay. I get it. So, all right, so I get it correctly. We turn off the power,
Yep.
We turn off phantom, leave it alone for 15 minutes.
Yep.
Don't pack everything away right away.
You can pack other things away, like at that point you can unplug your speakers. If you have any compressors or EQs that are extras beyond the board, you can unplug those and pack them away, but just make those mics the last things that go away.
So, we're using this soundboard. We haven't had a chance to really use it in our live stream, but why would somebody want to use a board like this for a live streaming event? So, in our case, we're going to be doing lectures. There's going to be multiple people on the panel. There's also going to be, because this is 5-channel, we're going to have somebody in the audience asking questions. So what's the real value of having this kind of Behringer 1000B?
For an event like that, I think you pretty much put the points to yourself. You're going to have multiple people speaking at the podium, all with different vocal stylings, even in their speech, not just singing. Some people will have a higher range vocal that might, if it's not tuned correctly, they could come off very tinny sounding, or if they're too low, it could be kind of the same, where they're just a little distorted, so you want to, let me think of the word I'm looking for. You want to set the levels for the parametric equalizer, which is this row, your high, medium, and low fade or bands, and that's just high frequency, low frequency sounds, and you can give a boost or you can tone it down for each frequency. The more expensive boards have much more in-depth ones where you can choose the exact frequency you want to cut down, and then the decibel rate that you want to cut it down by. Those ones are actually really fun to work with.
But generally speaking, from what you and I were talking, you're setting your volume levels at 0. You really accept...
Oh, these are different from the volume levels.
Oh, okay.
It's your equalizer, which is like very minute changes. So like if, let's say someone has a very deep, low voice, I might cut back the high end a little bit and maybe boost the mids and kind of round out the low levels just to make their voice sound more clear and, what's the word I'm looking for?
More rich, maybe?
Yeah, more rich. You don't want them to sound like they're coming out of a tin can and it's just some terrible audio system that someone rigged up last minute. You want it to sound full. You want it to be clear, obviously. That's the biggest thing, is that there's no noise or fuzziness to the sound.
Yeah, I think the greatest expression I've seen is poor sound as surveillance. So I think our goal is to definitely have a steady cam, but, and have live streaming, but to have the highest quality audio we can possibly have. Is there any other tips on mics that we should be thinking about? And the do's and don'ts maybe, on how to use a mic?
A couple of the ones I can think of is when, with any cable, whether it be extension cord, XLR cable, 1/4 inch, never do the over-the-shoulder wind. It twists the cable on the inside and can tear the shielding and damage the cable and shorten its lifespan. So you always want to do, well, it's kind of hard to demonstrate here unless I grab my spare cable.
So your idea is to maintain the integrity of the cable.
Oh, very much so.
I'm just going to move this up here.
So what you want to do is have your dead end, which is the end of it, facing away from you. Just take an arm's length or whatever equal length away and give it a slight spin as you come in with your thumb and your finger. And slight spin again. When you're spinning it, you're counteracting the twist that you're putting on it so it stays straight.
And are you using any kind of Velcro or anything to sort of keep it?
If I can, I get the cable Velcro ties.
Oh, okay.
Those things are so useful.
Yeah, I think we have them in our bag. Right?
Another big do not is when you're testing mics, as we did earlier, snap your fingers over it, never tap the mic.
Everybody does that.
It's so bad for the microphone. Yeah, you always just snap your fingers or have someone speak into it. Don't blow into it, of course.
What happens if you tap it or blow into it? What are the potential risks?
It's like the same thing as dropping at a short distance. You don't want it to have any shock damage, so if you're sitting there just tapping the thing, it's going to be rattling whatever inside. Okay,
so there's some one of the other things we have it on our Rode mic, but I've seen it on other ones. They have a cushion over top. Does that buffer the sound a bit or protect the?
Like there's the foam rubber sleeve that goes over most, and that's just kind of a low level windbreaker, so like you won't catch a lot of the sounds of the wind just passing through. It muffles and breaks up the wind. And on a bigger scale, there's the old Dead Cat, which just is the big furry microphone cover. It does that to a larger degree, where if there's wind blowing through, it just kind of catches it and breaks it up so it doesn't hit the microphone and give you that sound.
Okay, so we have to take care of our cables. We instruct people not to do the old tappy and blow into the mics. Is there any other tips that people should know?
Off the top of my head, not right now, but we'll probably give you a list at some point that you can put along with this.
Perfect. Okay, well, that's really informative. So this has been the intro into how to use a Behringer 1000D with I think we have 4 tabletop mics, right?
Yep.
And some tips that Casey has provided us. So again, thank you so much, Casey.
No problem.